If you leave out any of those, then the problem is I'm going to have to take radio time and come back and ask you about whatever you've left out. So now I got to take up valuable radio time, call back the roof sector and ask them those things and have them verify that.
Enchanted Sky Media.
From the Enchanted Sky Studios in Prescott, Arizona, this is Code 3, the Firefighters Podcast, hosted by award-winning journalist Scott Orr. Code 3 features interviews with leading members of the fire service, discussing firefighting strategies, tactics, and other topics you need to know more about. Now, here's Scott.
That's right, and I will not let Parkinson stop me. Thank you for joining me again here on Code 3. You are listening to the show for and about firefighters. Let's get started. When you go to the roof, what do you include when you make your report on conditions? Right, every department's truckies report something different depending on their SOPs. The thing is, the truck company officer is in an excellent position to give the IC a better size up on the fire, as long as he makes a complete report. Here to explain what should be reported and why is Gibby Gorman. Gibby has over 30 years of experience in the fire service. He's currently a battalion chief for the city of Maricopa, Arizona Fire and Medical Department. Before that, he worked for Tempe, Arizona Fire and Medical for 27 years, where he was the captain of a busy downtown truck company. He's developed regional ladder training programs. And he was also a member of Tempe's technical rescue team for 12 years and the department's SCUBA rescue team for 8. He's taught ladder tactics at several Firehouse World conferences, and Gibby Gorman joins me now. Welcome to Code 3.
Thank you. It's good to be here, Scott.
So why is a complete roof report so important to an IC?
In my opinion, the ladder company and the roof sector oftentimes can drive the fireground strategy. I think we've all grown up hearing the adage that if it's not safe to be on the roof, you shouldn't be under it. So the roof, the reason why I think the roof company drives the strategy is that hopefully they pre-plan the building in their area, have an idea about it, and then from there, they're going to see that building all the way through the process, and that's from putting the stick or ground ladder up to the parapet to climb up onto a commercial building roof. So they're going to see everything that's happening before they climb up the roof, as they climb up the roof, and when they get on the roof. So they're going to be able to identify fire and smoke conditions, fire spread, building construction, any other factors that they can see visually on their way to the roof. Then those factors are confirmed when they create an inspection hole which identifies the roof truss support system, as well as they'll be able to see what the type of roof it is, whether it's built up or, whatever type of roofing it is. And then they'll be able to see the roof load, firewalls, parapet height, and any other information that captain is using to determine whether it's safe to vent or where they should vent. Their roof report, what is happening as a result of their ventilation opening, is key to report to the IC, because he's going to use that piece of the puzzle and then confirm what he hears from you, the roof sector person, to the interior sector to make sure that everything is lining up. If I cut a hole in the roof and I tell the IC that we've got a tremendous amount of fire in the roof or in the attic, and then the IC calls the interior crew, and they can't confirm that, well, maybe they're in the wrong spot, or maybe the attic is hiding the fire, but something's not matching up. So he needs to confirm with the interior what's going on there, and maybe their handlines aren't being successful. When I was actually a captain, I thought that part of my sector responsibilities in painting an accurate picture for him when I was on the roof was to give him all the information that he needed to confirm strategies and feel confident with myself on the roof. So I just figured I would learn to give a good roof report, much like we expect our interior crews to give good interior reports on the progress to the incident commander.
That makes sense. When's the best time to give the roof report? Is it when you first get up there, or do we need to wait until we've started to ventilate?
Well, for me, and of course, ladder guys are very peculiar and specific on how they do things. So I will talk today about what I think is important and how I do things, and then if people grab a nugget from that, that's great. But so when a ladder captain and his crew gets to the roof, that could be a good time to let the IC know that they have accessed the roof and that they're beginning their route to create their vertical ventilation hole. That puts a timer mentally in the commander's head that the guys and gals are just starting their mission. So if he doesn't hear from them in X amount of minutes, he probably wonders what's going on, much like, again, interior crew. So he could give a report to the incident commander at that time and just give a quick overall report of the roof. It looks stable, maybe a firewall location, any hazards that he might think that the commander needs to know. So it's more of a confirmation that, yes, we have received the order and we're beginning to make our way to cut the hole. And then the ultimate and the most important time to report to the commander is after he has completed the hole, and that's the time he's going to give the IC all the information he needs from what the roof sector sees and what he's accomplished on the roof. And that should be given at a safe location away from where the actual hole was. If for some reason the objective, which was to cut the vertical ventilation hole, could not be achieved, the commander needs to know that immediately, and he needs to know why. And it could be because the roof integrity is lacking. Maybe there was fire showing from the roof, or it could be as simple as mechanical failure or a manpower issue or something happened on the roof. So the reason that they cannot cut the hole needs to be given to the commander as well.
What's important to be conveyed in that report, and what elements are often or usually left out?
As far as what needs to be reported, the main thing is to confirm your objective. Your task was to go to the roof and vertically ventilate. So the first thing you need to report is, did we complete the ventilation hole? So that was your task. But yes, it was completed. And then after you complete the hole and open up the roof, what do you see from the roof? Is it a light wispy smoke? Is it heavy black smoke? Is it pressurized? All those have different meanings. Pressurized smoke means that the box underneath you is full of high heat, and that produces the pressure. So if it's a large commercial building and you're getting pressurized smoke, then there's a lot of heat in a big structure producing that pressurized smoke. Also, you want to know, like I mentioned before, is there any fire in the attic? That is probably the biggest bit of information, because that's weakening our truss system for those on top and those below. So that's by far the biggest issue you want to confirm that you have or you don't. You want to know what the roof load is. And I wouldn't get too hung up on the size of the AC units. But if they're big units, I would just say industrial size AC units, VAP coolers, skylights. I've even been on a roof before where it was a pawn shop and they had barbed wire around the roof. That might be something you might want to just let people know in case. The actual overall roof integrity, is it strong? Is there any sagging or spongy areas? And then the last thing you want to do is you want to confirm to yourself that that one hole is enough. So that's why I always cut a big hole first. And once you're happy with that, then you want to announce to the commander that you're going to retreat off the roof, and you let them know when you're off the roof of the PAR.
All right, those are the things that we need to tell the IC. As an IC, what do you find that people typically forget to tell you until you ask?
I expect all those things, because if you leave out any of those, then the problem is I'm going to have to take radio time and come back and ask you about whatever you've left out. So now I got to take up valuable radio time, call back the roof sector and ask him those things and have him verify that, which just puts him up on the roof longer before you can get off, and then just takes valuable radio time. We know how much radio traffic on the fire ground there is, especially in the initial stages. For me, it's just getting back on the radio and asking that person more information.
Now, as an IC, do you want to hear suggested tactical advice, like whether they believe that an interior attack is still warranted or whether it needs to be made defensive, or is that not their job?
That's a great question, Scott. So again, these are my thoughts, but as an IC, it's your responsibility to know how much you trust your ladder captain and crew. How long is their leash, or how short is it? And if you train with them, I remember when I was a ladder captain, I used to invite the battalion chief out so he could actually see what we were capable of doing and our abilities. And I took a lot of pride with my crew that when we were given an assignment, he could count on me accomplishing it. And if I couldn't, there was going to be a good reason for it. So that being said, if I have a ladder captain that I have a lot of confidence in and I know they can do the job, I welcome that reading between the lines, maybe a little subjectivity in his report. And if he tells me that the roof has good integrity and points out some other factors that lead me to think that we can stay offensive, I'm going to go with that. Based on his observations, again, he's seen more than I have in my Suburban. If he feels that I need to check with interior real quick and see where they are in their fire attack, and if things don't match up to his suggestions, I don't have any problem pulling the plug and going defensive. That's what I expect from my ladder captain. But if I don't know him or her very well as far as what their capabilities are, or I don't have confidence in them, then I'm going to take with a grain of salt what they say.
I have seen several company officer academies where engine captains practice size-ups, and I'm wondering if it wouldn't be a good idea for ladder captains to also practice size-ups of that kind. Do you think that would work?
Absolutely. I mean, as a matter of fact, I have had a new ladder captain. He wasn't new as a captain, but he was new to the ladder functions. And my suggestion was to take his crew and actually go on the roofs that he would go on for a fire in his first due area and ladder them and walk them. And I would be happy to go with them. And that way they'd get a feel of how high the parapets are, where a good place to spot is, what the roof feels like without any fire in them or under them. And it gives them a good pre-plan. Plus, when you go up to the manager of the grocery store, for instance, and you tell them or ask permission to do what they're going to do, I think it shows that you care about that business and that you're pre-planning in case, God forbid there was an emergency, you're going to be able to do your job better. So it's a little bit of community service, customer service involved in there. But I told this captain to make a little diary, a little journal, if you will, about the roofs. And if you pre-plan which way the trusses run, if it's parallel cord or panelized, all the little nuances that you'll need, if you do that prior, that's going to set you up for success. Plus, it builds confidence in your crew, in your ability, because you're leading them on the roof before the fire. You're talking about what you're going to do, and then when the real deal happens, you'll be ready to perform. It's much like a sports. I equate it to football. You practice together for the game, and when the game comes, you perform, and hopefully when you win, that builds the morale, and everybody feels better and feels better about training for more because you've done well. The roof is not a place to learn on a real fire, and it's an extremely dangerous place. So there's no maybes or kind ofs. You have to do things right all the time.
Last question. Have you ever heard of a good acronym that reminds people of all the information they need to get across?
That's a funny question or a good question. I was trying to come up with one because in our department in the Valley, we use PCANs for interior reports, position, condition, actions, and needs. And so that's kind of an easy one to remember. But I guess the short answer is no. But if I come up with one, I'll sure let you know, because it's hard to remember all those things, but that's why you practice. But it's a good idea. I should work on that.
All right, we'll be looking for it. Thanks for being on Code 3 today.
It's my pleasure. Anytime, Scott.
And we put some more information about making a complete roof report on our website at code3podcast.com/roof report. All one word, roof report. Check it out. All right, that's it. That's all for this edition of Code 3. This time we talked about the importance of giving your IC a great roof report. If you're a truckie and you have a good acronym to describe one, I'd like to hear it. Just email me, scott@code3podcast.com, or leave a voicemail at 562-337-9902. I'll read your comments and play them back on a future show. Thank you for listening. I'll be back next time with more, and I hope you'll join me. I'm Scott Orr, and until then, stay safe.
Code 3 is a production of Enchanted Sky Media. To contact us, get more information on today's topic, or subscribe to the podcast, go to code3podcast.com.